What is good, everyone? Welcome to today's trade recap of the day. Today is Monday, September 8th, 2025. I'm going to be going over the one trade I ended up taking today. I made $24,000 on the day. Let me show you guys the P&L for all the pocket watchers. Where is it? There's my trade singer. Here's the P&L, $950 across my 26 accounts. Really, really good start to the week. I took this with one contract. The live trade is posted on my TikTok and Instagram, so go check that out. And if you guys want to use TradeSyncer, this is a great copy trader. It basically just copies all of your accounts. So I'm currently working with 26 accounts and it copies all of them. So you can just take one trade on one account and then copies all of them. That's how you start making big boy money in trading. All right, so let's get into this trade and what I ended up taking. I did end up moving my face cam this way. I'm reading the comments, guys. Don't worry, because it was covering all the time frames. So face cam is now on the right side. All right, so let's get into it. All right, boys. So coming to the day, I had a really strong bullish bias. Okay, so I was bullish. Reasoning for that was because let's just go to 9:30 open. Okay. So first thing I'm doing when I'm marking out my bias is I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame, right? So the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so I'm pulling this out here, right? And as you guys can see, we are respecting bullish and we are disrespecting bearish. Okay. So when we are in bullish order flow, that's what you want to see happen, right? You want to see fair value gaps like this on the bullish side getting respected. PD arrays, basically that just means any ICD concept. So that can be a bullish for value gap, that can be a bullish order block, right? And so you see this on the 4-hour getting respected. This was from Friday. And then we ended up getting delivery higher, doing what? Inverting this bearish for value gap right here. So this is a sign that we are going to be bullish. If we are disrespecting bearish, respecting bullish, right? And then from here, right, I'm then looking at the overnight session, right? So overnight session continued to trade higher, right? And I was simply just going to be bullish until proven wrong. Okay, so when I'm coming into the morning now with this very obvious bullish bias, and I don't really even have to look at like the 15-minute time frame or anything like that. I was really just, when the 4-hour is obvious, that's all I need to be hard stuck on a bias, right? So I'm looking at open right here, right? And as you guys can see, we do have this 4-hour bullish for value gap, right? So I was thinking to myself, okay, there's two scenarios we can have for open. One is we trade lower, hitting this 4-hour gap, and then I'll be willing to take longs off of that, right? Something that looks like this. Or if we want to leave this gap as unfilled, which is what we do sometimes when we're just, very bullish and at all-time highs, we'll sometimes leave gaps. If we can trade higher, then we can create some sort of fair value gap here, then we can get in on some sort of continuation long up until that buy side in this previous day high, right? So that was the main two scenarios for the day, and that's what I was looking at coming into open. Again, we either trade lower hitting this gap, and then we can get a long from there, and I'll be completely fine with that. Or if we just want to distribute higher at open, which is a very possible, which is a possibility, we can then trade higher, create some sort of 5-minute or 15-minute fair value gap, which is what I need in order to take a continuation setup, and then we can trade higher, right? So previous day high as the obvious draw on the day. Okay, so looking at open, right, there was a lot of setups that was honestly presenting itself that I had to fade. Okay, first off, we had like a bunch of 30-second trades, right? I think we ended up trading higher. There was a setup, I believe it was a short setup. It was this 2-minute, right? So this was a setup that I feel like a lot of people probably took today. And again, the reason I faded this short setup was because I was super bullish, right? Even though I want to see this gap get hit, since I'm going to be bullish, right? Like I could see this setup working for sure. Like this could have worked and then we could have done this, but I'm just looking at that, right? I just want to see that bullish narrative happen. So I don't really care that this is happening, right? I'm not really minding anything that's happening for the bearish side. I'm simply just waiting for my setup to present itself. Either we go lower here or we trade higher here, right? That's all I'm looking for. I don't care about anything else. Okay, and that's the problem with, I feel like a lot of people when they're trading with inversions, is inversions present itself a lot of the times. And a lot of inversions fail if they don't have any narrative behind it, which is why you have to, stick with your bias, but also look at what the market's actually presenting you, and just be patient overall. So I was just simply patient. I was waiting. We ended up trading higher. I believe there was another 30-second entry. I remember seeing this, and I remember saying in my head, like, I feel like a lot of people are going to get caught up in this trade because the bias is bullish. It's really bullish towards previous day high, and there's just no reason to be shorting on this day, right? 15-minute gap inverted, right? We are closing above highs. If we are going to be bearish, you will never see a candle like this through an obvious draw on liquidity, right? The second you see this 15-minute close here through Asia highs, this is a clear sign that we are not going down to this 4-hour, and gaps here will most likely get respected until we hit this previous day high, right? So the same way that you can have your conditions with, let's say your 4-hour bearish rally gap, right? If this gets respected, then you can trade lower, or if this gets inverted or disrespected, you can trade higher. You can have those same conditions with liquidity pools. So like Asia highs right here. If we start trading through this, then I'm going to be really, really bullish. If we wick this and then trade lower, then I'll be bearish, right? So this was just even more confirmation for me that we were going to have a very bullish day. So I was not interested in any shorts, simply waiting. And this is the thing, guys, like you see, like this move is happening right in front of my eyes, right? And there's times like this where I just have to be patient, right? I'm waiting for my setup to present itself. What do I need in order to see my setup present itself? Well, I need to see us price trade back into a 5-minute or 15-minute fair value gap. This is for my continuation model, right? So I need to see that happen. If not, if we just hit some sort of 1-minute gap and then get an inversion out of that, like this is not enough, right? So I'm waiting for either a 5-minute or 15-minute gap to open up. I'm patient and I'm staying patient, okay? So then I'm also gonna be marking out my 10 a.m. open, okay? So 10 a.m. is about to open here. And I was waiting. And we get our open right here, okay? So with 10 a.m. open, guys, it's really a significant opening price. It's the open of the 4-hour candle, okay? So if you are going to be bearish, right, the same way you want like an open low high close if you're bullish with the 930 candle, you want that same thing with the 10 a.m. candle, right? So what does this mean, okay? So this is your opening price, right? If you're going to be bearish, you want to see price do this. Trade higher, hit a higher time frame key level, and then start seeing distribution back lower, right? If your opening price is right here. If your opening price, if you want to be bullish on the day, right? You want to see price trade lower, hit a key level lower, then get distribution higher, and then this is your open low high close. And then this will be a 4-hour bullish candle. Sorry, a 4-hour bullish candle, right? Because this is your wick here, this is your distribution higher, right? So that's what you want to see when we're looking at the 10 a.m. open here, right? So a lot of people think that like the first candle after the opening price matters, and it doesn't. You just want to be looking at the PD rays, or just the key levels that are around the 10 a.m. open. So for example, here we have this 15-minute gap, and then we have previous day high, right? So at this moment, right, I want to see longs. Like I'm trying to get into longs because my overall bullish bias. So I was looking to see 10 a.m. open lower and hit this 15-minute gap, right? We have this 15-minute bullish rally gap right here. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want to see. Right? So I'm just simply waiting for this. And at the same time, ES is getting very, very close to the sell side liquidity pool right here. Okay. So this is what you should have been. This is what I was basically waiting for all day, right? Because this is a very, very obvious draw. We ended up leaving this low at 10 a.m. Okay. So generating liquidity to the sell side here. And then we are generating liquidity on the buy side here on NQ, which is exactly what I want to see, right? I don't want to see price go up, take highs, and take these highs if I'm going to be bullish, right? I want to see price leave this liquidity, generate this, take out lows here, leave highs up here, right? So that's exactly what I'm waiting for. So 10 a.m. ends up trading lower. We end up hitting this gap. At the same time, ES ends up taking the sell side from all the way over here from 8 a.m., right? So we get this big SMT, right? SMT all the way down here. And then we also get an internal SMT with this low. So we end up hitting this low right here, hitting this 15-minute bullish rally gap. And then at the same time, we end up getting ES, getting an SMT right here, 1019 candle, 1021 candle. I usually don't really care, and you guys shouldn't be caring too much about internal little SMTs like this. But this was a very, very clear sign. I was like, all right, if we get like a Drake candle through this gap, then this is an A+ model. And we end up getting a really, really obvious move once we've got that final sweep on liquidity. And this was my textbook setup, okay? So I ended up taking a 2-minute inversion for value gap on this day. Okay, so something that I do preach is taking the highest time frame inversion in the leg. So what does this mean? It means if you have a high and then you have a low, that hits your manipulation, that hits your key level, right? You want to be taking the highest time frame in that. So the problem with this trade, though, is that there was really no highest time frame that I can get in on, right? Because there was a 3-minute, there was a 4-minute, there was also this 5-minute that was all the way up here. So really my entry model was pretty scuffed, right? Because I didn't have a very clear entry model. So there's times like this, guys, where I need to be using discretion because everything that I want to see happen up to this point has happened, right? Bias, bullish. We ended up generating pretty much relative equal highs here with previous day high. We got clear displacement. We got a clear reaction. We have a very obvious SMT here all the way down here, right? We have a clear delivery through this 15-minute gap. Just everything that I want to see happen has happened. 10 a.m. open low. We should get a high close now, right? So at this point, it's like I'm not going to wait for the highest time from inverse, right? Because my discretion and basically I'm not going to let my entry model here hinder me, right? Because this is an A++ setup, right? Discretionary wise. So I end up taking this 2-minute, right? And the reason I like this 2-minute so much is because we have this 1-minute gap right here. And this is really the fair value gap that matters, guys. The gap that ends up sweeping out liquidity is really the important fair value gap in the leg, okay? So this is the main gap that I want to be focusing on. And at this point, I know if this gap were to get inverted, especially with a clear V-shaped recovery like this, where we have like a little obvious V off of this, right? Then I know we should at minimum go to this unfilled 5-minute gap. And then from here, we can be break even at that point because then it's also tapping into that 10 a.m. open, right? So then at that point, we can be break even and then I can just hold it towards this buy side liquidity for about a 1 to 2 RR. Okay, so that's exactly what I did. All right, so I ended up taking the trade right here. Once price action hit this 5-minute unfilled gap, I ended up going break even, and then I held the trade up into this buy side liquidity pool. Okay, I'm sure that price will eventually go for a previous day high. Do I know when? No. This is the point of like even though my bias, guys, is higher, CPI is in like 2 days. We have PPI tomorrow, right? So price action could generate liquidity until then, right? I'm just taking the highest probability setup and closing when I see that price could potentially reverse in there or could potentially go back to my break even, right? But I do have strong confidence that the draw is still higher, obviously, towards previous day high. That was my whole narrative for the whole entire day. So I think we could still go hit it, but could we hit it during AM? Maybe. We could also trade lower and then hit my break even if I was still in this trade, and then go hit it in PM or even save it and then go hit it tomorrow, right? So I don't know. But this was the setup I took. Oh my God, I keep dropping shit. This is the setup I took. 10 a.m. open, low, and then we should get this high close on the 4-hour candle, right? This is your wick into the key level, and then we should continue higher here. And that is pretty much that, right? Today was a very, very, very textbook day about just staying patient and waiting for your setup to present itself, right? The whole entire day, and honestly, like, sticking to your bias and sticking to your plan is so freaking important, which is why I suggest all of you, especially if you're a beginner trader, I used to do this, is write out a daily bias every single day. So coming to the day, literally get a notebook out or get your notepad out, whatever you want to do, screenshot and start writing out your daily bias. Okay, I'm bullish on the day because of XYZ, and I will only be taking a trade if we do this. I'm looking to see these scenarios happen for me to take a trade. And that's pretty much what I told myself coming into the day when I was doing my pre-market analysis. I was saying, okay, we can either trade lower, I'll take a long from there, or if we want to trade higher at open, then we can get a pullback into a 5-minute or 15-minute for value gap, and then from there, I'll take an inversion setup long, right? And that's it. Just stayed patient, literally just waited for my A+ setup to present itself, and I took it. No hesitation. That's it. All right. So that was the one setup I took today. I didn't take a trade on Friday. I know a lot of you guys probably like wanting a trade recap, but yeah, if I'm not taking a trade, then I'm just not going to post a trade recap. Check out my Instagram stories, guys. Go follow me on the PB Blake official Instagram. That's where I'm going to be posting pretty much like whether or not I take a trade or not on the day. But yeah, I am going to post every single trade I take, win or loss. Okay, so get ready for that. All right, and yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this trade recap of the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Really, really banger day. Great start to the week. We do have, again, PPI, I think on Tuesday. Wednesday, we do have CPI. So I'm going to be looking for trades then too, right? I still do trade on those days. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a good rest of your Monday, guys. And I will see you guys maybe tomorrow. And if you haven't done so already, go check out that indicators video that I just dropped talking about these two indicators. Really saucy video. And I have some more videos coming out for you guys soon. So the mech model video is coming out soon. So be ready for that. Peace out, guys. Have a good rest of your Monday.